Hey, everybody. Guess I'm live now. If anybody's listening, if anybody comes in, let me know if there's any kind of problem with the sound. I think it's probably okay. Well, today's topic, and I'm live. This is a live stream. Today's topic is life on the American res. Was thinking about it last night. Actually, I've thought about this before, but the American res, okay, the American reservation. That's what's happening. Russell Means once said that the American people or the Americans are the new Indian, okay, and he was right. Um, that's what's happening in America today. People get all crazy when you say things, when you start talking about FEMA camps and gun control and all this stuff, but they don't realize that this all happened before. This happened a long time ago to the indigenous people, to my people, to the natives of this land, okay? So, what makes you think that anything is going to be different now? What makes you think that the same people that are in control, okay, aren't in control now? They are. And what happened back then? Well, they came in on the Mayflower, the European man, and they subjugated the Indians. Tried to make pretended like they were friends at first, and got everything out of them that they could with food and shelter and everything like that. But then, as things progressed on, they turned on them, and later on, when it came push came to shove. They started in with the genocide bit and the war bit, okay, and the grabbing of land and the taking of resources and the killing, the mass slaughter of in different campaigns of the native people of this land. Then what happened? Well, as the encroachment started more and more, they pushed these people onto reservations, okay? They killed all the buffalo when the railroads built the Transcontinental Railroad. They killed all the buffalo, uh, usually firing from the windows of trains. Buffalo hunters and different parties of buffalo hunters were sent out to take the buffalo down. And what was the agenda there? Well, the agenda was that they knew that the buffalo was a sacred animal and food supply for the natives. Okay. And so they first they started with that. Okay. Well, how does that sound similar to today? They tried to exterminate the natives, okay, by hitting their food supply. So how does that compare with today? Well, what do we have today in our food supply? We got GMOs, okay. We got an adulteration of our food supply. Um, and so you gotta be careful about what you buy. Shop organically if you can. Things of that nature. So they hit on the food supply back then, and they're hitting on the food supply now. What about weapons? Okay. What about weapons? Well, let's talk about that for a minute. Any populace, okay, that has ever been subjugated, been eradicated, been killed off, um, How'd that happen? How did one side get the upper hand over the other side? Well, they went after the weapons. Okay, they went after the weapons and they went after the powder, and this is what they did to the indigenous people of this land. They attacked them in all kinds of different ways. And one of the ways was trying to get a hold of their weapons. Well, they had weapons already, which were pretty lethal. They had the bow and arrow and the lance and the club and knives, and they were very proficient at them. Bow and arrow was just devastating, and the Apaches, especially, were like guerrilla fighters. They had to be because they were trying to exterminate them. And that's exactly what the fuck they're doing today. Okay. And if you can't see it, you're really blind. I'm sure you can. I'm sure the people that subscribe to this channel and the people that come on here on chat occasionally, there's none today. Either that or it's not working. They see, they know, hopefully, my subscribers, but there's a lot of people out there that don't know what's going on. And it's so glaringly obvious. All I got to do is look at history with the indigenous people. This has become a reservation. This has become a reservation here in America. And the American people are the new Indian. And the American people have been slaves for a long time, and they don't even realize it. This shit happened a long time ago, this slavery. I mean, people put too much trust in the government. They think that because they can go down to the corner and have a Starbucks latte and drive their BMW, which is something they're paying for on credit. See, nobody really owns anything. That's the mistake that people make in this society, is that they think they own stuff, and they don't. Nobody owns anything. It's all an illusion. I mean, let's say you buy a house. Well, that's on payments and that's mortgaged, and you got the bank, and you buy a car. Well, that's on credit usually, and you're paying payments, and it's not your car. As soon as you miss a payment on the house or car, or you don't pay your property taxes or whatever, that shit's gone, baby. It's gone. So you don't own it. You just think you own it. Okay. You're actually leasing it, or you're renting it, just like a person renting a house. They own that house just as much as probably the landlord, because the landlord's probably buying that house on time. You don't own it either. Nobody owns it except the bankers. They're the ones that own it. And see, that's what they did back in the indigenous days, the early days of this land, is that they went after the natives' land. They went after the land, and they made treaties, okay, and they supposedly, quote unquote, bought land, and then they allotted land, and then they made treaty after treaty, and they tricked people into signing things, just like when you sign today, okay, for a loan or a contract or an agreement. That's what they did back then, only they broke the agreement because the laws back then weren't made for the ones that were propagating them. They weren't made for those people. They were made for the ones that they want to subjugate. It's always that way. Isn't it that way today? Laws are here for us to be subjugated. Now, Isn't that exactly like the reservation? I mean, we all live on a reservation. Okay. Yes, there still is the Native American reservations, which are horrific. But America itself is a reservation. It has borders, it has fences, it has rules and laws regarding the in the transportation industry regarding checking people with passports. Used to be a lot easier to travel than it is today. You didn't need a passport a lot of times to travel. You could just get a visa. Okay. And so people are subjugated. They think they're free, but they're not. So while they have everybody encircled, okay, in this perimeter here in the United States Inc., USA Inc., it's a corporation, people. It's a corporation and it's a group of bankers and it's a group of investors, okay. And it's a group of people that have business dealings with one another. And what do they make money off of? They make money off of you. They make money off your labor. Good. Somebody came in. Welcome. Hope my sound's okay. They make money off of you. They make money off of your labor. And so you are virtually a slave to the system, and you are on the reservation. You are on the American res, okay? And the only semblance of freedom, and I'll say this right out, is the fact that the citizenry, okay, of this country is armed, okay? It's one of the very last nations in the world, okay, that you can go out and it's your right to buy a firearm. And I was raised around firearms, so I don't have any problem with them at all. I see the reality of it. I see that if there's any problems with guns, it's what's created by our government. They do a false flag after false flag of inserting covert operators and mercenaries in and taking out kids at school and taking and going to Vegas and places like that and committing horrific acts and then trying to blame it on the gun. If I sat a gun in the corner over there and looked at it, would it go out and shoot anybody without me or somebody else grabbing it and doing it? No, it's an inanimate object. So it's all about the mental capacity here. It's all about the how you view things, okay? The spin, okay? So I'm really getting sick of these asses trying to confiscate people's weapons or firearms, and it's like, well, you don't need a rifle with that big around, big of magazine capacity. That's not for hunting. Well, who the hell said that the founding fathers were talking about hunting? They weren't. They were talking about our own government rising up and making it a reservation, which is basically taking our freedoms away. Okay. So that's a basic right to defend yourself. And what happened when America was being born in 1776? The British tried to take their arms, and guess what? That's what led to the forming of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and all that stuff. But still, this is like a mother eating its young. You know, I mean, America was born, and America allowed all of its citizens to be able to arm themselves to protect themselves from whatever threats that they felt were upon them. And then what happens after a while? It's like the mother eating their young. They come in and they try to take those rights away. It ain't gonna happen, baby. Ain't gonna happen. No way. Not with the millions and millions of firearms that are out there in people's hands. It's not going to happen. What are they going to do? Try to use the military to come in and take people's firearms? Well, that isn't going to happen either, because the military, half of them are on our side. Okay, maybe more than half. So that's not going to happen. See, this is what happens. This is what they did back in the early days to the Indian. They went after his guns. They went after, and when they couldn't quite get a handle on getting all of his guns, guess what they went after? The powder. Okay. And now the same thing is happening here. They did, you know what? A populace that isn't armed is subjugated easily. And all you got to do is look at history to realize this. So all you have to do is look at history and realize that once people are disarmed, they they don't have any they don't have any control over they don't have any control over their destiny anymore. I mean, if one side's armed, okay, then the other side, to balance it out, needs to be armed. Okay. Um, and so in historical reference, being armed doesn't necessarily even mean firearms. Just being armed means being able to protect yourself, being able to keep those who wish to intrude upon your life and subjugate you with tyranny, some kind of tyrannical government. Um, Keeps them at bay. Okay, it keeps them at bay. So if there weren't any guns in the world, let's say one side didn't have guns, the government didn't have guns, and well, then there wouldn't be such a need, would there, to protect yourself? But as long as that exists, there is a need. Okay, as long as one side has them, then there is a need to maintain that balance. Okay. I was talking to my girlfriend the other night about the whole situation with why mankind seems to want to subjugate other people, and why there is war continually. And I mean, to be truthful, even before the European man came over to this country, the tribes went to war with each other occasionally. Now, was it the same thing? No, it wasn't the same thing as we had today. It was a more honorable coming of manhood, right. Sometimes they didn't even shoot each other when they went, and when the tribes had wars, they would just count coup, go over, and it was about honor and bravery and a coming to manhood. It wasn't about the wars we see today. It was about the wars we see today are done in mass. They're impersonal. Um, they're for no good reasons. A lot of innocent women and children get killed. A lot of civilians get killed. That wasn't the case with the tribal interaction before the white man came over here. The white man fucked things up, okay? And when I say white eyes or white man, nobody's purely white. That would be like the wall behind me, but and everybody's a mongrel mix. So I mean the European man, or let's say the man with that kind of mentality, okay? The man with that kind of mentality that wants to possess everything, wants to control other people, wants to create havoc, wants to make slaves out of people. That's what I'm talking about when I say white man or white eyes. Those are the kind of people, because see, there's natives that aren't really natives too. It goes both ways, people. There's natives that are not of, let's say, that blood, but they are in the heart. Okay. They are in the heart. Can that happen? Well, sure, it can happen. Sure, it can happen. I mean, there's people that are have the in exact indigenous mindset that the Native Americans have. It's all about the heart, okay, and it's all about the conscience, and it's all about intent. It isn't about blood, okay, or the color of your skin. You can be an Indian without being dark or reddish or ruddy or dark haired. It's in the heart, baby. And any good medicine man will tell you that. Any medicine man worth his salt will tell you that. So today, again, I get getting off on a little bit of a tangent here, and I always do that because I'm a free thinker and a free spirit. But basically, people are going to be subjugated. They already are. They're already in a prison here in America. Um, and they so they better stay on top of this thing. At least the prisoners have arms. See, at least the prisoners within this walled off nation have armament to overcome, let's say, their captors or their guards or whatever. And see, that's what they don't like. That's what they don't like. So what do they want to do? Well, they want to make it so that you're just totally impotent. Okay, that you're totally defenseless. Okay, against whatever they perpetrate within this reservation. That's what they want to do, and the populace gets sucked in. Okay, by this mainstream media propaganda. Okay. And what do? They use people's emotions. Haven't I always said that? They use people's emotions to make them go like, "Oh yeah, we really need to do something about these killings at schools." And when somebody says something about, "Well, why don't they arm the teachers?" Which is a no-brainer. Let me tell you something about the schools back in the, let's say, 40s in America in the 50s. Did you know? Okay, you're going to be surprised to know that almost every school, high school, or a good deal of them, did you know that they had gun ranges in the basements or in other places? Did you know that they trained the children how to use a firearm? Did you know that this was a common practice to have a gun range and a firearm and to train the children, the young adults, into the usage of using a firearm and being a safe hunter and a safe gun user? Most people don't know that, and that was back during the times of like the world wars and stuff. Nobody had a problem. Nobody had a problem with this shit. So that's what they did. They trained kids, and now, but now, when you mention a kid being armed, or a teacher, or even having security in a school, they get all freaked out. Oh no, we can't have that. And what is Trump doing right now? What's he doing as far as sticking up for the rights of Americans to have firearms, to have guns? Uh, Not too much. And the people that voted for him have got to be pissed off. They have to be having second thoughts, because a lot of people that voted for him, that was one of the things he stuck up for. Another thing was not going to war with Russia. So there's another weak link. Okay. He's weak if he doesn't start standing up to these people that are coming off with this Second Amendment bullshit, repealing the Second Amendment. You know what? I don't give a shit about the Second Amendment. I know one thing. I do in a respect that the founding fathers said they put that in there as a protection for its citizens. But your right to own a firearm has nothing to do with the Second Amendment. It has to do with your right as a person to defend yourself. But the fact that they're trying to erode the Bill of Rights and erode the Second Amendment is an eye opener. I mean, they even got these Supreme Court justices coming out and saying this, and they know better. They know better. So basically, what's happening is it's just a continuation of, and all this stuff I'm talking about is contributing to life on the res. You're a reservation Indian, baby. You're a reservation Indian, and you're living on the res of America. So welcome to the res. You know, welcome to what the indigenous people, welcome to what the Indians of this land have been going through since day one. Karma's a bitch. It's coming back on the people now. It's coming back on the and you know, if you stand idly by and history's been rewritten about this too, better believe it. And they're rewriting history as we speak, you know. So everything, if your eyes are wide open, everything has the earmarks of you being a prisoner and forced labor. You're a prisoner and you have forced labor, yet people still idiotically go out and vote for these politicians that don't do a goddamn thing as far as helping the people. And then you got technology. Okay. You get technology mixed in here that is adding to the almost impossibility of you being able to withdraw, okay, to withdraw from society, to withdraw from the American bullshit, to keep a low profile, to make yourself small, um, unnoticeable. Because why? Because number one, people live in cities. Number two, they buy into the whole goddamn iPhone thing. Okay, which is they're paying thousands of dollars for a little piece of plastic that is keeping track of them and taking pictures of them all the time. Okay. And distracting them with meaningless bullshit. Nothing more there's nothing I hate more than to walk into a coffee shop and see young people or anybody for that matter sitting there and going doo 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 on their iPhone for hours and hours and hours and not even looking up. Can't even make eye contact with them because they're so focused into this piece of shit. So and what do they pay for it? What are phones now? Remember the good old days? You got a phone in your house, and what are phones now? What are they paying for phones now? Oh, they're paying. You're paying $1,000 for a brand new iPod, or $900, and for what? So they can spy on you. I've been thinking about going back to a landline, and I might just do that, you know, just might do that. So right now I'm out in the middle of the desert. I'm in a rural area. I'm trying to make my profile small, except for the fact that I do videos, which isn't making it very small, but I feel like I have to inform mankind, um, of what's going on. Uh, then it's up to you to take whatever actions you need to protect yourself. Even the chips and credit cards. Remember that when that came in? I remember I went to the, supermarket, and I remember when they had the first machines where the chip was on the credit card, and they were saying, they're having problems with, when you went to the checkout, and I'm going, "What's the problem here?" And they were going, "Well, we're instituting the new chip device." And I'm like, "What's that? What do you mean chip?" And they go, "You know, the chips on the credit cards that are coming out now." And I go, "Chips on credit cards, huh?" They say, "Yeah, that's for security purposes, so nobody, steals your, information or your, it's a security procedure." And I go, "Really? You think it's a security procedure?" No, that's not a security procedure, brother. That's a way to keep tabs on you." And they go, I remember the checkout person going, "Oh, whatever." Like that was, some kind of far-fetched idea or something. And little do they know that's exactly what it is. Another way to keep tabs on everybody, find out what they buy, find out what their habits are, find out where they go. Doesn't have a damn thing to do with security. It has everything to do with non-security. Okay. Tracking you. Probably got a GPS device tracking that card and knowing exactly where you walk. And if it isn't in the card, well, you better believe it's in the iPhone. You better believe it's in the iPhone that you purchased, that you carry around with you. It doesn't matter whether it's on or off. Doesn't matter at all. Excuse me. So this is ways, okay, through technology and through satellites and through downlinking and uplinking, that they keep track of you. Okay, so they really don't need a fence. I mean, they could track you all over the world if they wanted to. They listen to your conversations. Shit, they might even, these chips might even have a device in them that I don't know if they do, but it would seem to me like it wouldn't be too hard to take your body temperature and your metabolism and all that stuff. Okay, and even look at your health. And this is the next step. Okay, the next step is chips. Okay, in you, implanted in you, and they're trying to do it now. I don't want you to view this video as like I think everything's hopeless, because there's bound to be a glitch somewhere. There's bound to in the technological aspect of things, and in the larger order of things, there's bound to be a glitch, okay? And there's bound to be a falling of civilizations, which has always happened in the past. I don't care who you are or who you think you are. Look at Rome. Look at Rome. One of the most controlling civilizations on earth, always invading other people's lands. Guess what happened to them? They went down. They went down because they got too full of themselves. They got too full of pride. Okay. And how fast did they go down? Well, pretty freaking fast. Okay. So there is hope, people. Most likely, these people will self destruct. I don't know about destroying the whole planet or the whole world. I think I have a little bit more faith. Okay. Not in so much a God, but in in the concept of what this is all for. Okay. It would seem to me that, and hopefully, okay, it would seem to me that it's for more of a reason than we know. Okay. It's for more of a reason than we know or are able to comprehend. So let's hope that's the case. Let's hope that's the case. And let's hope that, you know, the old saying, give them enough rope and they'll hang themselves. That's a distinct possibility with these people because when you get full of pride and when you get that much rope and when you take that much leeway, sooner or later things are going to backfire. Things are sooner or later things are not going to go according to the plan that you thought they were. Okay. So we have to keep up those kind of hopes, but barring that, what you should try to do to deal with all to deal with the fact that you're on this reservation, what you should try to do is make yourself smaller and less noticeable and live your own life uh, within the parameters of your own reality, your own surroundings. Because, see, they can never really imprison you. They can't imprison your mind. Even people in prison will tell you that. They can't imprison your mind. You're a free spirit. You're a free soul, and they can only imprison your body. So you have to use that concept, okay, for living from moment to moment, living in the moment, living everyday life. And remember that you have a lot more control than you think you do. You can refuse to do certain things. Okay. You can refuse to become a puppet of the government. You can refuse to take doles, take handouts from the government. Is that easy? No, sometimes it isn't because sometimes people need things like food stamps and stuff. But every time you do that, just remember that they have a tab on you. They have you know, but they know about you already anyway. So that'll be a decision you'll have to make. I'm not telling anybody that that's wrong thing to do because I've had to do it. But just remember that every time you put your profile out there or you get a new credit card or you get a new piece of plastic or you get a iPhone or you get even this computer that I'm doing this video on, you're putting yourself out there so that they can know more about you. Hopefully, technology will implode on itself. Technology can be used for good purposes. I see that. Okay, I can see that. But whenever you get technology, it's never if it is used for a good purpose, it's always used for an evil purpose. You can bank on it. You can bet on it because there's evil that exists. And when they see this new technology, guess where most of the new technology comes from? The military and aviation. Okay, they're always on the cutting edge of technology, and so later on, it trickles down into society. You know, it trickles down, and what do? The evil use that technology against you and against mankind. So just remember, okay, just remember that life is a life on is in America is reservation life, and don't lose sight of it. Um, the more you know, okay, about how things are done and how things are controlled, there's that old saying, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. So you know what they're doing. And that's a good adage. And you got to try to keep your spirits up Okay. Again, you can't let them control your spirit. You can't let them control your mind because they can't really. Well, they can to a certain degree. I kind of take that back. They can use NLP and they do. They can use propaganda. They can use hypnosis. They can use all this stuff. And that's what they do. But if you're aware that they're doing it, then at least you got a little bit of a handle on being saved from it, okay, or protected from it. Just know that the higher you raise your frequency and the more you become enlightened through spiritual practices and through realization and through self-realization and realization of what's going on around you. Knowledge is power and knowledge is protection, okay? And don't think that you don't have some kind of power, some way to change the course of history or the course of life. Because they say when a fly goes through the air or an insect, just that one insect flying through the air changes the whole biosphere. Or just one, like let's say out to sea, just one gust of wind causing a ripple on the ocean ends up being a tremendously huge wave on the north shore of Hawaii, okay, when it reaches land. So don't think that your actions, if positive and full of intention, okay, don't have an effect on the planet as a whole, then you're shortchanging yourself. Okay, you're shortchanging yourself because every action that you do, just when I raise my hand and I displace air, that has an effect, and you wouldn't think it would, but it does on the whole natural order of things. And maybe your thoughts, okay, when you think certain thoughts and you put out that kind of energy, don't think for a minute that that doesn't affect the energy of everybody else on the planet in some kind of minute way. So what if you got really, really strong with your thought process and your ability to channel energy, or your ability to connect with the natural energy of the universe? Okay, do you think that that changes your whole frequency and your whole aura? Don't you think that that's going to have an effect on the planet? Because these people running the show, they don't know anything about this stuff. I mean, maybe they know about it, but they're not really predisposed into raising their consciousness, raising their vibration, raising their what they put out as far as an energy level or a frequency. Yes, the stuff they're doing is very destructive, and yes, their actions cause changes in the world too. So, how do you combat it? Well, you have to go to a very, very high spiritual level, do spiritual practices, do meditation, do breathing, do ritual in accordance with your ancestral beliefs if you're Indian or whatever tribe. Keep that part of your consciousness going. Okay. And maybe somehow this situation can be overridden. So is that the creator coming to your rescue through your own self? Well, it could very well be. Maybe the creator, okay, is a sense of energy or life force when channeled through yourself that has the ability to not only heal yourself, but to heal others and to heal the planet. That's what I'm hoping for. So don't get too despondent. But again, videos like this are important because You have to know what the problem is before you can work on it. You have to know what the problem is before you can fix it. You have to know where the negative energy is coming from before you can put out positive energy against it. And as I grow in maturity, both spiritually and physically, I'm seeing more and more things that are possibilities. Okay. Where do you think all this technology came from? Where do you think it came from? Well, it came from up here. It came from mankind's uh, people like Einstein, all inventors, all scientists, people that come up with new ideas. Where does that come from? It comes from man, and from before man, it comes from the creative intelligence coming through man. So if man created this, can he uncreate it? Well, of course he can. So you get those people on one side that want to uncreate the mess, and you got the other people on the other side that want to create the mess. And every time you think about things, try to realize the power that you have as a person, the power that you have if you're hooked up with that life force, creative intelligence that created all this stuff in the first place. You created it, you can uncreate it. And so I kind of think that that might be a good place to leave it today. Try to leave it on a little bit of an up note here, positive note. Um, so anyway, keep watching the videos here. Give me a thumbs up if you will. Share them. You know how to share your stuff. You should if you're on the computer and Facebook and all this stuff. Share it if you can. Get the word out that there's somebody that's speaking truth. If you like what I say, then pass it on. Appreciate that. And RogerThunderhands.com is the website that you can go to if you wish to purchase any of my books or make a donation through PayPal or Patreon to allow me to continue on. And I'm going to try to get more regular so that it'll be worth supporting. And you can give me ideas, okay, that you want me to talk about through comments and through chat, okay? You can give me ideas or questions that you think that you might have. So keep that in mind, okay, people? And I thank everybody. Not a whole lot of people came in today, but sometimes a lot of people come in. It's just a matter of timing when people are at work and that kind of thing. So I thank everybody for their comments that they may make in the future, and I thank all the people that came in, and I thank those who wish to support me. And so I'll leave it there today. This is Thunder Hands, and I'm going to say adios for now.